Hey, I'm Josue at Prehired, and we're doing another Prehired success story. Today we have Ryan. And Ryan, what can you tell us about yourself?
Yeah, I'm Ryan Thompson. I'm from here in central Massachusetts, or the greater Boston area is what they would say on LinkedIn. And yeah, right now I work in the ministry, and yeah, just really excited to get started in my new role.
Awesome. So tell us, Ryan, what were you doing before joining Prehired?
Well, like I mentioned, I'm in the ministry right now. I was also in the ministry before pre-hired. And yeah, so kind of had some more, I don't know if the terminology fully might land with some of you guys, but I was an executive pastor, so I had kind of some of that administrative experience that might be required for a kind of a businessy type role. So that was kind of some of my work history. That's what I was doing before.
Absolutely. And then what would you say were your biggest career struggles before you joined Prehired?
Well, a lot of people ask me that, what are the positives and negatives of working in the ministry? And a lot of them are what you'd expect, right? Like, I think a lot of it was a lot of people that are in the ministry, they're there because they find the work fulfilling, right? But yeah, on the pay side of things, it's not pay and benefits. It's not really quite as good, and so that would kind of be some of the more negative, just categorically, right? Good on the believing in what you do, and not quite as good on the pay and benefits side.
Right, right. Of course, money is really important, right? Like, hey, you work to live, you don't live to work.
Exactly.
So what did you try to do to solve those struggles before joining Prehired?
Well, I tried a couple things within the ministry world. I wanted to stay connected to that, so kind of moved around from like some different local churches. I got a seminary degree, and more recently I started working for the church denomination, which is like the bigger group of churches. So I worked for their central office, so that kind of helped a little bit, but yeah, still wasn't quite. Where it needed to be to be fully satisfying to me.
Of
So,
course, of course. And then, did you had any hesitations about signing up with Prehired?
well, yeah, initially I saw, I think it was a Facebook ad, if I'm remembering correctly, and yeah, my hesitation was, I think like a lot of people who have never heard of an income sharing agreement before, I was like, is this even a thing, right? Like, or is this some sort of scam, or what is this? I don't know what this is. And so yeah, I just looked into it. I Googled what an income sharing agreement is, and then I realized it was somewhat, standard practice in the tech industry, and a lot of higher end boot camps are doing this sort of thing nowadays. And yeah, so that kind of helped to ease my anxieties. And then I started looking into kind of like the cost structure, and yeah, I just thought to myself, yeah, this is either like the most like ridiculously ambitious scam I've ever seen, with all these amazing, level of fake reviews, or this is real, and so eventually I decided, yeah, no, this has got to be real. This has got to be a real thing.
Nice, nice. Are you convinced it's real now?
Yes, yes, I'm very convinced it's real. Yeah, I mean, I'm not exaggerating when I say it has changed my life. So yeah, definitely real.
That is great to hear. That is awesome to hear. And you did mention like hey, you researched what an ISA was, how other boot camps are also using that. Was there anything else that helped you overcome those hesitations? Did you check out any reviews? Did you talk with anyone?
Yeah, I mean, the reviews definitely helped. I kind of mentioned that a little bit, like, seeing just the sheer volume of positive reviews. And it's not like they're like sketchy positive, right? It's not like 5 star, 5 star, 5 star across the board. You have the occasional
Right.
4 star in there, but they're talking about like the growing edges of the program as well, and things that, I'm assuming you're growing on over time. But then I think, I had a conversation with one of the people on your, is it the incoming student team? I don't really fully remember what they're called, but kind of like sort of like a pre-advisor sort of role. And that conversation was, was very helpful for me, you know, and just kind of explaining some of the things that they're actually going to teach, and yeah, why it was actually worth it. So that was a big thing in overcoming it as well.
Nice. That is great to hear. That is great to hear. And this is a question more about the program, Ryan, but how long did it take you to finish the program?
I think it took me about 6 weeks to get through all of the video content. And I don't fully remember the exact length of time it took me to finish the rest of it. I think it might have even been 6 more weeks, something like that, which I know is beyond the average. But I'll say this, you know, I had some just personal life issues going on. There was a death in my family, someone fairly close to me. And just, you know, I have another family member who lives with me, who I'm taking care of, medical issues. So that kind of extended the length of time. And, you know, my advisor, Josue, who's also on this call, was just very graceful in, you know, helping me find that, you know, we talk about work-life balance a lot in the program, actually in the philosophy section. And I think Josue was just like, kind of like a model advisor when it comes to that. Just really helped me nail down, you know, like, was encouraging and challenging, but also just graceful where I needed it, you know. And I think so. If you have any sort of, you know, big life situation going on, I would say just ask up front about that. You know, that would be my advice, because I think there are a lot of even very serious things that you can still get through this program while that's going on. And I know, you know, I did one of those things, especially the death in the family, was not expected, but my family member was sick before I started as well, and we were still able to go through the program and everything. So that was very, very good that even with all that other stuff happening, the program still works. So.
I appreciate you sharing that, Ryan, and I appreciate you helping as well future members by telling them your story, because they might encounter themselves in a similar situation, right? It's really important to persevere, which Ryan did. That being said, Ryan, what would you say is the part that you enjoy the most of the whole program?
Yeah, I think in terms of yeah, what I enjoyed the most. I'm trying to think of how to phrase this. I think um, probably the videos themselves. I think some people really enjoy, you know, kind of like the practical side, like doing things. But yeah, I'm much more of the kind of like dynamic learner type, and just nerdy all around. So some of the sales psychology stuff I just found kind of fascinating as we were going through that, like the pain, urgency, money, approval thing, and you'll get into that later if you haven't yet. But yeah, that was really fascinating to me. And then just some of like the apps that are out there, and really some of the artificial intelligence stuff is like really cool, you know, kind of cutting edge level tech involved in the sales world. So yeah, I think, yeah, so the AI in particular and the sales psychology were like two of my favorite parts to learn about. And yeah, it just came up a lot in conversations with my friends. You know, they'll start talking about artificial intelligence, and I'm like, oh, I know something about that. Like, I just learned about that. You know, how we use it in the sales world. It's very cool. So, yeah.
Nice. That is awesome. And what do you feel could be better?
Yeah, I think well, it's tricky because I think some of, and what I'm about to mention is not like, I don't think it's any particular person or program's fault. And I think this is kind of an across the board thing for online resources. But one term that we've heard a lot since the beginning of the pandemic, and this is being recorded in 2020, just in case you didn't know, but basically there's this idea out there called Zoom fatigue. You might have heard of it. And I think even when I'm watching some of these online videos, you know, and maybe part of it is the way that I engaged with the content. I did a lot of it at once in one sitting. I found the longer that I sat there, the more course content I went through at any one time. It wasn't that I wasn't like trying to pay attention, but the less I was sort of absorbing, you know. So it's kind of like when you're reading a book and, you know, you're like, I don't remember what happened in the last 5 pages. Like my eyes were moving, but I just wasn't taking it in, you know? So there were a couple of times where I had to go back a couple of videos and rewatch. Again, not totally the fault of the program. Maybe it's more mine. But yeah, I think maybe at the end of each video, maybe there could be something where there would be an opportunity to kind of review what you just watched. Maybe, I don't know, maybe something like that. That would be one
Sounds good.
thing. Yeah, I think that's actually it. Yeah.
That sounds awesome. So that the right now, right? You recently got hired. What job did you get, and where are you working?
Yeah. So now, when I tell you the title, yeah, the title is just, it's just a really not totally accurately descriptive title of what I'm going to do. So the title is Learning Management Specialist, and I would work in the IT department in my current company. And but essentially, so that really only, that label only applies to like half the job. So half of it, I'm going to be I'm going to be teaching people on software. Um, but I work in a company where departments kind of have a lot of control over what they want to do and what they can do. So in our IT department, the learning management specialist is actually kind of like selling software to our internal departments, if that makes sense. Now, it might be different than a traditional sales role, but I'm selling things to people. And the fact, you know, I know these clients, like I rub shoulders with them on a daily basis. And I actually used to work in one of these departments before. So it's kind of a unique circumstance, but I'm still able to use a lot of the knowledge that I gained in the program, which is super cool. Yeah, so it is in the IT department, but like I said, you know, there's sales, there's training involved, and all of that stuff. So I'm able to kind of apply it there.
That's awesome to hear. So, who would you recommend the program to?
Yeah, I think the audience is pretty wide, right? Like the first thing that came to my mind when you just asked me that question is some sort of existing level of technical skill, but I'm just taking that back, like in my mind right now, like, because it's not fully true, right? Like, maybe a little bit, right? Like, did you grow up with the internet? You don't even need that. I think it comes down to willingness. So I would definitely recommend it to anyone who's looking to, you know, improve your life in multiple areas, right? Like for me, a lot of it was the salary piece. Like I was already somewhat satisfied on the level of just general job fulfillment, right? Like I was fulfilled by the work itself, but I wasn't as fulfilled on the pay and benefit side. And so, but I think you know, a lot of you out there, you might be coming in and you might be thinking, hey, I'm not fulfilled by my job. And I think it can check both of those boxes. So like almost like whatever your reason is for wanting to get into software sales, I would say this is just a really good program to get into it, to break in. Like if you don't have any other in, this is your way. This is your way of getting in. You learn all of the internal language. Like if you have ever submitted an application to like a bigger company like Salesforce or Microsoft, and you're wondering why the heck didn't I hear back? You know, like I just, how do I break into this company? Like this is going to give you the insider knowledge. You know, I think, yeah. So you are the right person, and this is the right program.
That is awesome to hear, Ryan. And just like Ryan said, guys, it does take work. It does take a will to be able to change your life, but if you're serious about it, we can make it happen. This is a lifetime membership. So if anything happens, we're here to help you guys. Ryan, was awesome having you on another success story with Prehired.
Thank you. Yeah, good to be here.
Awesome.